They
I'm
gotta
the
look
only
good.
one without facial hair, huh? Look at us.
What's happening, people? It's another episode of the Giants, guys. We're back in the lab. This is like the pre-draft show. I've got Zane in the lab. I got Michael Stewart, the Truth, in the lab. And as promised, Zack Rosenblatt, NJ.com, because he's kind enough to hang out with us, give us his wisdom, because Zack, there's like every day there's more drama on what the Giants are going to do in this draft. So like, just give me overall, is this draft feel very different than other drafts? Because this is the first time in a long time there's not a lot of QBs at the top.
Yeah, it's a unique draft. I think it plays into the Giants' favor since they weren't going to draft a quarterback this year anyway. So the strengths of this draft are offensive line and edge rushers, and those are their two biggest needs. So I think they have 2 first-round picks and a top 10. And it's good in the sense that they can get 2 guys right away that can become cornerstones. On the downside, there's maybe less opportunity to trade back because I don't know if any of these quarterbacks teams are, unless it's Malik Willis, I guess, that teams are dying to trade up for. So that'll be the interesting thing to see how it plays out for them. And they have so many holes that you can't really predict what they're going to do either, which is where in the past, like I think we all had a pretty good idea of who they were going to pick. Whereas this year, it could be any of like 5 guys. So
all right, so if you're just joining in, yes, that is Zack Rosenblatt. The beard is really trim right now. He looks 10 years younger. I almost thought it was like his younger brother or something, so I don't want anybody freaking out. It is Zack. All right, elephant in the room, 5 and 7. Overall, A, do you think it's going to happen? And B, do you want it to happen? Staying at 5 and staying at 7. What's your thoughts?
You asking me that?
Yeah, of course. You're the star.
Yeah, that's a good question. I go back. I feel like they're going to trade one of the picks. I'm just not like 100% sure I know like where that's going to come from. But if I had to guess right now, I'd say, yeah, they trade one of them and keep the other. But I think they're in a good spot. If they wanted to stay there, I think it would be understandable. I think they can get a good edge rusher and a good offensive lineman. And
what do you want to happen?
If not, they trade back and they get a pick for next year, which might even be more valuable. So like I was saying before, I just think they're in a great spot right now. Nobody knows what Joe Shane's tendencies are yet. This is his first draft as a general manager. I mean, you can look to the Bills and what they've done, but who knows if he's going to follow the same path. So it's going to be very interesting to see how it plays out. And, even being at number 5 in this draft, like the odds are they're going to get one of the guys that can step in right away and be a potential Pro Bowl line.
So you mentioned something real quick, Zach. I'd like to get your opinion, see if you have any insider information on this, right? We talked about Joe Shane, his tendencies. We don't know him. It's his first time as a GM. He worked with Billy Beane, obviously. They made decisions. What was Shane's – we know he was his right-hand man, whatever that may mean, but what was his level of influence in those picks? Do we have any idea about, did Shane say, this is the guy, and Billy said, all right, cool. Did we get any type of that kind of vibe about the level of influence he might have had in some of those player selections? Or has it always just been it's a collaborative thing and he had a say?
I would probably say the latter. But I think he had a very strong and important voice in the room. I think he, as you've seen in all the pre-draft videos that the Giants have released, like he's pretty involved in the scouting process. Yeah. I don't know, like all GMs necessarily are. Like he gets his hands dirty and he goes on the road and he's been on a few pro days. So, and I know he had his own board when he came here and he inherited the scouting staff. So like I think he definitely had like influence. That it was ultimately Brandon Beane was the one making decisions at the end of the day.
Oh, sorry, Brandon. I said Billy. My apologies. Crossing sports.
But yeah, I mean, I mean, he definitely was a big part of the process, and I think that's why you can look at some of the stuff they did and be like, okay, like they drafted running backs in the 3rd round multiple times, and I think the Giants have been bringing in a lot of running backs in the pre-draft process, and I think they probably view that as a long-term need, if not like immediate. So it wouldn't shock me if they picked a running back in the middle rounds, whereas that's kind of a tendency you can look at. And another one is that a lot of people have talked about is that they never drafted an offensive lineman in the first round in Buffalo while he was there. I don't know. I mean, if like a Conwu or Evan Neal are there at 5, I think they'd have a hard time passing them up. But it's something to keep in mind in the back of your mind, I would say.
Yeah, it seems, I had this conversation with someone last week that was I happy with, the signings of free agency and, on the offensive line. And I said, let's look at it this way. For the last 6-7 years, there's been no competition. Guys were gifted jobs. So what we have now is at least competition, right? You're gonna in this draft and in free agency or the undrafted players, you're gonna bring in 4 or 5, maybe 5 bodies that play offensive line to compete with what you have. It'll be the first time in a long time there's competition. So outside of Glowinski, I can't see any of those other guys penciled in as day one starters. I'd have, as you just mentioned, I would have to think that one of the 3 offensive tackles have to be, on the short list, because you're really not going to go into the year with what they have now, right? I mean, the only thing that would be unique would be is them taking 2 defensive players at the top, which I don't see as possible. But Truth, you've done a lot of work on offensive line last week. Is Cross? Do you feel that? And Zane might have his own opinion, and Zach may have his own opinion. But is Cross still someone that you would take at 7, or you think that's too high?
No, I'd take him at 7. I wouldn't take him at 5, though.
Okay. And you think he, a lot of this, Zach, do you find this, I don't know, he can't block because the offense, didn't call for it? Like, do you think it's a little overblown on Cross?
Yeah. I mean, I think I've heard like anything ranging from him being a top 10 pick to him falling to the teens. So I think there's a wide range. I think he's an interesting player. He's athletic, and his testing was really good at the combine. And I know the Giants were at his pro day, and their offensive line coach worked him out. So I think he feels more like, I mean, if they like him, if they view him as, a number 1, number 2, or like a top 10 type player, then they would have no problem taking him at 7. But he seems to make more sense to me as somebody if they trade it back a little bit than, just outside of the top 10 or something. But I mean, it wouldn't shock me if they picked him at like 7, but I wouldn't predict it necessarily.
All right. So what do you think? Like, what do you want to happen? Like, what's the ideal? And when you cover the team, I know there's probably some scenarios that are better for content wise. You're creating content. If there's a trade back and there's probably something, maybe it's got more shelf life or it makes it more interesting. Like, what do you want to happen?
What do I want? I mean, I just want interesting guys. And I think a few of these guys are like pretty interesting. Like a few of these guys are talking to, if you just look at their interviews, are pretty interesting dudes. Like Kayvon Thibodeau has a lot of confidence, and I think he'd be a pass rusher that this team has been missing for a while. Sauce Gardner has pretty elite confidence, and I think it's earned. And I mean, he just seems like such an interesting personality. Akonwu, very smart and funny guy. I haven't really seen much with Evan Neal, but all those guys are just very interesting. Like I just want to cover a good team. So if they can just get they should get the best possible players they can, regardless of position. Honestly, even if it's 2 defensive players and you get 2 defensive players and you try and figure out the tackle in the second round. But
so you brought up BPA. Are you taking Kyle Hamilton at 507?
I don't know. I guess it depends on what the Giants view about him. I don't know if I necessarily would, but I mean, he's an interesting player. He'd be probably pretty good in Wink Martindale's defense because they can use him everywhere. But I don't know if I would pick him as high as they pick. He seems
to be fluctuating because of his 40. His speed is kind of
I think
people a little off edge.
He plays faster than that, though.
He does.
I think the value of the safety position is also probably a part of it. Honestly,
but we also know how people freak out about measurements, right? Look at Trayvon Walker's rise; it's ridiculous. It's strictly based on measurements. We go crazy about it. Kenny Pickett's hands too small. I know he played for 4 years and succeeded, but all of a sudden those hands aren't going to work in the NFL. So there's just little measurement things that the NFL picks on that makes things move.
There's a lot of smoke that comes around these next 3 weeks. Trayvon Walker went from a 10 to 20 pick to being now today. I saw people mocking him right at number 1. So there's a lot of smoke in there somewhere with some of these players. All right. So Zach, you mentioned about Tibbs. It seems like every day there's damage control from his camp on Tibbs's either attitude or his lackluster approach to, I don't know, interviews or his maybe, I don't know, like he's not engaged in the game. The words I heard were he doesn't care if they win or lose. He's the same guy whether they win or lose. So I know Tibbs is interesting and he's got some confidence, like you said. Does he fit? Because, I mean, the fan base seems like they're already all over the guy.
I mean, if he's good and he can disrupt the passing game, then he fits. Like, all that matters is how he plays on Sunday. Honestly, I think I haven't heard anything like bad about him necessarily. Like, I know he has an interesting personality and all that, but ultimately, as long as the effort is good and the talent is there, like I wouldn't have any issue taking him. But if he falls, then they clearly had some questions. So, I mean, it's something to keep an eye on for sure.
Because I'm not overly, I mean, I'm impressed with his speed. I think, Truth, I know you've done a lot on these edge guys too. Like, I'm impressed with his speed and his ability, but is anyone really impressed with his overall production compared to some of these other guys? I don't know. Truth, why Tibbs?
Why Tibbs? Well, he wouldn't be my first pick if I was a Giant.
So you'd pass him
at 5. Yeah, at 5. No, I wouldn't move. I firmly believe one of those tackles are going to be there at 5. So one of those 3, and I think I would take a tackle, and then at 7 I would go edge. But that's just me. I mean, I'd rather have an edge who could disrupt the quarterback over a cornerback who can cover a receiver. That's just how I am.
All right. Then let's move. Let's say you're getting a tackle or a pass rusher in the first round. Zach, GMs get paid a lot of money. It's the first round's almost a no-brainer. They earn their money in that second, third, fourth rounds, right? I think you would agree with that.
Yeah.
The Giants got a ton of picks. Like, where do they – and Zane, you're more than welcome to jump in here. Like, where do they go with – because there's 1 second-round pick. There's 2 third-round picks. I'm very high on the fact, if you've seen anything I've been talking about, is because of Galladay's injuries, Shepard's injuries, Slayton dropping everything that's thrown at him, the offensive weapons for Jones aren't really in abundance. So I feel like getting a dynamic tight end as a safety blanket would be a phenomenal move in a mid-round, like second pick into third, early 4, and bring a guy that can be a day 1 starter. What's your thoughts on what they're going to do in that third round where Shane really makes his money?
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously a lot of it depends on what they do in that first round and the second round. I think tight end is a smart thought. I think they obviously need a tight end. I don't think Dable plays more than 1 tight end very often, but I don't know if Ricky Seals-Jones is a guy that's you want being.
He does play a lot of 11 personnel. He's not a 12 personnel guy. We haven't seen that just yet, at least. So his tendencies are the 11 personnel. That's why I'm all for tight end. I just don't know how they're going to utilize them. Is Ricky Seals-Jones the backup? Is he the insurance type scenario? Because he's had health concerns, and aside from highlights against the Giants, he ain't done much else. So
everybody did good against the Giants, right?
Yeah. Unfortunately.
But
I like Cade Otton. That third round, I think about Cade Otton. I know he's coming off of health injuries, so that's the only concern there. Is he healthy? But he, to me, is probably one of the better complete ones that you would get in the third. Him and Jeremy Ruckert, third round guys.
Well, I got my guy. I know who I want.
And we know who Truth wants. And probably, maybe Truth's guys. See, tight ends, I think there's going to be a run. I think once that first one goes in that third round, there's going to be a run on them. So if you don't get them in the third, I feel like by the time the 5th comes around, the tank's kind of empty.
Probably.
Well, listen, guys. Let's take a step back for a second. There are 8 to 10 top tier tight ends in this draft.
I don't know about that.
There is. There are day 1 starters from these guys between Ferguson and Ruckert and McBride and Likely, and I'm not very high on
see the reason I'm not a fan. So I'll preface what I'm saying. I'm looking for a complete tight end. A lot of these guys are just like Evan Ingram's. There are
There are
more
a few.
receivers than anything else. They're kind of small, 6'3s, 240s, 250.
That's who
No,
likely
230s,
is. He reminds me of
240s.
Evan Ingram.
Yeah, so is Dolchich, right? These guys are more like
But
overgrown wide
but
receivers, but that's not what
that's
I'm
what this
looking
whole
for.
group is. This Zach, I don't know how much you've like dived in to the depths of the tight ends, but like, do you have does anyone stick out for you that fits what you think Dable's going to bring to the table? And also remember that we've got Kafka now as the OC. He's probably instrumental in creating that Mahomes-Kelsey relationship. Any thoughts, on, because again, I'm looking at like, hey, first and second round, there's a ton of talent there. Third round is what's going to make the Giants competitive on what they do at those two spots, like you said. Hey, Joe, thanks for stopping in. Danny, Mark, all you guys, thanks for jumping in the room. Any thought, Zach, on, as Zane was saying, complete tight end or more passing tight end? Because, again, we need someone that can catch the ball and move the chains.
Yeah, I think they need to get weapons around, whether it's Daniel Jones or whoever the quarterback is next. I think they, but yeah, I mean,
You say that like
Like,
like
something.
it's already gonna happen. Come on, Zach, we gotta give Jones
I
a
mean,
little bit of room. No,
yeah. He'll get a chance this year for sure. But yeah, I mean, you want a complete tight end. I mean, the guy that intrigues me the most is Jelani Woods, just because his testing numbers.
There you go. There's Truth's guy.
oh boy, great.
He just
And listen,
like
he knows his football. All right, he knows his football.
Yeah, okay. You two guys were, talking off the air is probably what happened. Okay,
I mean, the thing is, I think his stock has gone up so much. Who even knows how early he's going to go? He could wind up being the first tight end off the board for all I know.
I had him at my, but Truth, I've had him as my number 2.
I know.
It's McBride and it's Woods, and then I could probably, again, Ruckert's going to be a better pro than he was in college.
I agree with that.
I mean, they throw, it's not a pass happy offense. And if you look at Ohio State, what do? They throw deep balls, bang, bang, all day down. Stroud's throwing the ball down the field. He's got those dynamic wide receivers. They don't really throw a lot of balls to Rucker, right? So, remember Dable, Shane drafted Knox in the 3rd round for Buffalo. What people don't realize about Knox is he never scored a touchdown in his entire college career.
Wow.
So a guy like Rucker, who doesn't have big numbers, could be a good fit. If you can get Woods, so Zach likes Woods, Truth likes Woods. I mean,
I just think he has the biggest upside in anybody in that day 3 possible draft, or even late day round 3.
How do you feel about Woods as a blocker, inline blocker?
He's not bad. I mean, I saw 3 games. I watched the whole games. Him playing, he's not a bad blocker, and he can get better.
Can you leave him one-on-one? Do you feel comfortable on plays to leave him one-on-one?
He's enormous.
He's in. Yeah, it depends who he's blocking. Now, it's going to be harder in the NFL because he's going to be blocking men now, not boys.
Yep.
But I think he's got the body frame to get better and stronger, and he's got from what I've read, he's got a good work ethic. So.
I don't want to be over technical and bore the crap out of people, but I'll tell you this, Zane. If you're going to look for something to knock on Woods, there's 2 things I can tell you. One is he's so big, he towers over a lot of these corners that he plays, right? So he doesn't run a lot of technical routes. He rounds a lot of stuff because his body's so big.
He's too tall. Yeah, absolutely.
And because he's too tall, he doesn't bend at the waist very, very easily to grab low passes, but he's a great player. All right, Zach, tell me then, let's talk about, you mentioned Jones and Jones getting an opportunity. With your peers, what you hear, like, are you getting any story about him being healthy? Like I know the rumors, yes, he'll be cleared, but is there any actual conversation? Is there anyone actually talking about Jones's injury at all? Or is this like just a big old smokescreen for a guy with a bad disc in his neck?
I mean, by all accounts, it sounds like he's doing okay. I mean, he doesn't technically need to be cleared for contact until pretty much the season because quarterbacks can't get hit in practice anyway until then, or not even, they never get hit in practice actually, but
yeah,
they can't once the preseason starts and all that stuff. But my impression is he's going to be good to go. It'll be kind of wait and see whether he's limited or whatever, but I think they feel pretty good about where he's at health-wise. But again, like, I mean, whether the next fine or not, he needs to go get through a whole season, which he hasn't yet. So
if he does and he does well, does he get the new deal? Do they tag him?
yeah, I mean, it would depend on what he's looking for and all that. But yeah, I mean, I think ideally he has a great year and then you have your quarterback. But I mean, they're probably going to decline his option. That hasn't happened yet. They have until May 2nd, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
I don't expect them to exercise it. I mean, something surprising could happen, but yeah, I mean, he really is on his last chance, and if he goes out and is good and not great, then they have a real debate they have to have internally if they want to go and get somebody else or franchise tag him for a year or something like that. So it's going to be very interesting to see how that plays out, because I don't know if a lot of people are expecting this team to be very good around him this year. Even hopefully everybody's healthy around him and the offensive line is better and all that.
Yeah.
But there's no guarantee either of those things are true. So if it's a bad team around him again, then you're going to have the same situation where you have a hard time evaluating him, and you can't pay a guy $35 million a year if you don't really know who he is still. So
is there a threshold in your mind? Like just yourself in your mind, do you have like a 3,500, yards and 25 touchdowns? Like, is there something in your mind that says, you know what, he earns the tag? Let him, let him bring him back again. Like, is there a number that you have in mind?
I don't know if there's necessarily a number, but you want him to turn the ball over less, which he's already started to do. But I mean, how much of that is because of how conservative the offense was last year is a big part of that too. I mean, you want to see him taking shots. You want to see him taking shots down the field. You want to see him, if he's going to run the ball, you want him to see him be smart and not put himself at risk so often. And you want him to just make smarter decisions overall. And if the offense becomes more explosive and he's the one leading the way, then that's a good thing. If the offense remains in the bottom half of the league and, he's fumbling the ball away still and he's getting hurt, like, then he's not really making the jump that you need. And,
we always have the debate on, like, again, how the Twitter world is, right? It's like they hate him, they love him, and there's this fine line of what good and great is. And I'm just always trying to figure out, like, what makes people happy? Like what are they? Listen, I know he's a good kid. I know they like him in the building from, I've talked to plenty of your peers. You and I have talked numerous times. They like him in the building. He's got good work ethic, right? But what's going to make people happy? Like, what is he?
It's very simple.
Good year.
Win.
I will tell you exact truth, guys. It's wins. We've been doing nothing but losing. It could be Daniel Jeremiah instead of Daniel Jones, and if he wins, they will love him. It's got to come down to wins at this point, right? Without the production, this is why he can honestly throw for 4,000 yards, 30 touchdowns. You'd be like, oh my god! But if they come up with 4 wins, it's going to be tough.
How can this team, like, okay, let's just say the line, we know the line is an issue, the pass rush is an issue. If they fix a handful of stuff, a handful of holes, right? They plug up some holes with some very athletic, quick twitch guys. What are you expecting? You're trying to say that he's no good at 5 wins, but he's good at 7 wins? Like, I don't really know if it's possible to win 8 games with this potential team.
Yeah, I don't think it will come down to wins and losses. I don't think they're expecting to win. But I mean, if he has a great year and they win more games than expected, then that's like the best case scenario. If they win 8 games, then.
But that was my response to the fan base, right? You asked what would make the fan base happy. It's gonna be wins. Everything else is almost arbitrary, whether he has good numbers or bad numbers, right? So everything else almost becomes arbitrary, especially when he's going into this. We've seen, people have seen enough of him. It's kind of like, well, it's been this amount of years. What are we looking at?
All right, then let me ask you this, Zach. If it came down to it, Sauce is still on the board. And by the way, I got to tell you, he did an interview this weekend. I can't remember if I was watching like NFL Network or what I was watching. I have to admit and be 100% transparent. I didn't give him a chance at all because he was a corner and I didn't want the Giants to take a corner, so I just didn't like him.
We know.
Listen, his interview kicked ass. He was such a good kid. Like he won me over like that, and that self-proclaimed confidence wasn't cocky. It was cool. Like he was like, he won me over. So Zach, if Hamilton and Sauce are on the board at 7, where are you going?
I go Sauce, and I think the Giants would too. I think corner is a very important part of Wink Martindale's defense. I think they believe in their ability to just like develop pass rushers in the front. They've drafted a lot of edge rushers in like the second round or late first and stuff like that with the Ravens. And I just think, they're going to get rid of James Bradbury at some point. And I don't know if they have, and I don't think they have necessarily the long-term replacement on the roster because I feel like Aaron Robinson's probably more of a nickel. And Darnay is probably more of a backup.
Yeah.
So they drafted, I think, Aaron Robertson. They drafted over Holmes really for that because they more or less play the same thing.
Yeah, I think both could be quality players, but yeah, I don't think none of them are at the level of Bradbury, and I think you need shutdown. I think they believe in Adoree Jackson and his fit in this defense. Otherwise, they wouldn't have restructured his deal to what's going to keep him around. But yeah, I don't know. I think Sauce makes a lot of sense for what this team wants to do, and if you have Sauce and Adoree on the back end, plus Xavier McKinney and whoever they fill the other safety spot with, that's a pretty good back end, and then you can develop some pass rushes up front and hope you create the pass rush through all the blitzing that Wink likes to do.
All right, then let's play this game. Tibbs is there at 7. Sauce is there at 7. Where are you going?
That's a good question. I think I might go Tibbs. I don't know that I can't really say who I think they would go with. They might go with Sauce still. I'm not sure. That's a tough one. I think that would be a pretty close call. Maybe
I'd personally go with Tibbs, even though I'd love to go with Gardner. But then that's that little part that you play in your mind, right? You just brought up earlier about Kafka, right? Because his input matters. It's the same thing with Wink, right? That pushes you to say, well, he loves corners. He comes out and says it. Forget the pass rush. Give me the corners. I want the corners. And we don't have anything long term outside of Adoree Jackson right now. So that's got to be, as much as it's it's BPA. This roster has so many holes. Everything's a need too. That's why it's so interesting when somebody says, well, this player, almost everybody fits. Almost everybody fits.
I should say I'd be surprised if both of those guys were there at 7 because I think, if the board plays out in the way that I think it will, then I think either Sauce or Thibodeau will be gone in the top 4 because I think the Jets would draft one of those guys.
Yep, totally agree.
Is anybody coming for a QB, Zach?
Maybe. It'll be interesting. There's some, I don't know, you could look at like the Falcons, the Seahawks in the back end of the top 10 if they really wanted to jump up and get Malik Willis, or like a team late like the Saints just got an extra pick, and trying to think like the Texans have a pick at like 12 if they wanted to go and get a quarterback. I'm not convinced.
Minnesota's at 12.
Yeah, I'm not convinced that a team's gonna go up for a quarterback with the Giants. I could see like a team coming up for a non-quarterback, honestly, which maybe people don't expect, but.
The GM for the Texans came on this morning. He was on this morning. The GM for Texas, and he admitted that what he calls their QB. I don't know if he would say that if he didn't have some type of good feeling on why am I drawing a blank on his name?
Mills,
yeah.
Yeah. He admitted that like, hey, we're sticking with what we have. So you're right. I think that would be a leap for them to take a QB. But the Saints just seem like such a wild card that they would come up for Pickett or Willis if they could.
They've made a confusing move, right? They got these two it's a very confusing move because it makes you think, oh, quarterback, but it's also, well, Sean Payton's out. We want to retool and restock, and maybe it's two really good players. We're just going to go for it. So their trade with the Eagles has been extremely confusing because I'm not sold as for a quarterback. It's just, I don't know.
Well, they got 15th and 18, right? Is that what they got?
16 and 19. I think
the Eagles 16 and 19.
Yeah, they got 16 and 19. So yeah, I'm not sure what to make of it, to be honest with you. I'd love to say, yeah, they're going to come up for QB, but I'm not convinced about that at all.
I agree with Zach. I think you might see a team trade down for a position player.
Oh yeah, especially if you get a run on edges, like there's going to be some people who think are secondary, right? So let's say the immediates go that are on the board. Hutchinson's gone, Tibbs is gone. Now there's infatuation, right? Does somebody want to grab Walker? Is Jermaine Johnson still going to be there? There's only like 4 or 5 top edge guys. So does somebody want to make a play for that guy?
All right, then let's talk second round. Zach, what's the consensus amongst your peers and your thought on what's the second round? Like, you going right for a guard?
I think it again comes down to like what they do in those first picks, and that spot they're in is a great one because that's where guys who were projected as first round picks fall. That's where you saw Xavier McKinney fall to them.
Yeah, I was going to say McKinney. Yep.
But yeah, so if they get say a Conwu and Sauce Gardner, their first 2 picks, and then you probably go edge there, or if there's a guard they really like, I could see that too. I would say second round you're doing best player available, but maybe you're inching it more towards need. And once you get to the third round, you can kind of just like keep going best player available, because they need an offensive. So if they haven't picked a tackle yet, you're going to pick a tackle probably in the second round.
Yeah.
If they draft a tackle in the second round, I will cry. I mean, like, I'm just saying, like, don't make me cry. There are 3 tackles, to get, and we have 2 picks in the first 7.
You got to get a tackle in that first round.
I'm just
But
saying.
don't we then fall into that whole world of the need part? Let's say the top 2 are off, and you're debating cross. It's just, I mean, I'm fine with it, but then, then you end up with the.
Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. But then you just end up with the whole. Is it BPA? Is it need? Where are we going? Again, I'm not knocking it. I'm happy with cross, sauce and cross, right? 5 and 7, sauce and cross and sauce. That's fine. Pick it, Ryan.
You guys know
good.
Those are 2 good players right there. You can't argue with that. I mean,
2 day 1 starters.
At some point, and you all 3 can laugh at me, but at some point,
I'm going to.
You have to make it, right? Story of my life. At some point, you got to make the team better and the offensive line better. You need 2, potentially 3 plug and play guys out of this draft.
I think you need more. I think you need more than 2 or 3. With 9 picks as high as you have, you got to come out with at least 4 starters.
The only thing you want to just talk pie in the sky. Give me, let's say Hutchinson or Tibbs are there. Yeah, I'll take them at 5 and 7. We know that's not happening. If Cross is there at 7, Zach, you're now Joe Shane. Cross is there at 7. Neal is gone. Icky is gone. Hutchinson's gone. Cross is there at 7. Tibbs is there at 7. Sauce is there at 7. Now what are you doing?
I'd probably still take Tibbs or Sauce or trade back. You can get like a Trevor Penning or Cross later.
Really?
Yeah, I don't see Joe Shane as someone who's going to reach for guys. I think he's probably going to go to the value. I think, but we'll see. I mean, if they value a guy like Cross enough, then they pick him there. But that's not how I would predict it.
Yeah, I know.
What do you think Carolina's doing at 6? Sorry, when you get a chance after Craig finishes up, what do you think Carolina's going to do? That'll just be a follow up.
You want to go Carolina, huh?
Carolina, I mean, I could see them going Willis, but I could also see them picking an offensive lineman like Cross or whoever's there.
And there's the kicker, right? You could potentially lose Cross without getting Cross.
I think the Panthers also would be a sneaky trade back team because they don't have a lot of picks because they've made a lot of bad trades in the last couple of years.
That's true.
So you think
because their coach is obviously on the hot seat and he wants to win right now, so it'll be interesting to see what they do.
So maybe move back and let Carolina come up and pick whatever, Pickett or Cross.
Yeah.
What do they need more, the tackle or the quarterback?
I mean, if you don't have a quarterback, the quarterback's more important, but it depends on what they think of Willis and if he can help them right now or not. Because if Rule's coaching for his job, I don't know if he wants a developmental quarterback because then you're going to have to start Sam Darnold somewhere and you don't really want to do that.
Okay, well, if we're going to go down that road, isn't Pickett more ready to play with 4 years of experience at a big school?
Maybe they like Pickett and they go with him. I don't know.
Again, I'm not knocking Willis. I'm just saying that
you're right.
4-year starter, small hands or not.
Rule and Pickett have been interlinked for quite
some
time.
They have a history. Yeah,
that relationship and history is there, so that's the one that he's going to be constantly linked to if he does.
I think that's what he wants.
I'd be happy with that.
All right. So, Zach, because I'm going to let you go here in 4 minutes because I know you got some stuff to do. They come away with a tackle in the first round. They come away with either an edge or the corner in the first round. Second round could be a guard, right? Let's say.
Or an edge.
And I'm only harping on this third round because I actually think what makes it pivots it. So, in the third round, there are 3, potentially 4 pretty stud linebackers. The Giants took a lot of heat last year for not taking Parsons, right? Everybody flew off the handle because, the Giants are kind of squeaky clean. Parsons didn't have a squeaky clean background. They might have shied away from him. Truth is shaking his head because most Giant fans were like, you got to take the guy. They don't take him. There are 3, 4, maybe even 5 pretty stud linebackers in this draft. with Lloyd and
Dean.
and the other, what's the kid? Is it Chanel?
Chanel,
Leo?
I think it is right. Chanel.
Any thought of what if there's a backer going in the third round, Zach? Like, is that something that you're also looking at?
I don't know. Like I was saying, I think in the third round you can kind of go with the best player available. Pretty much, especially because this team has so many needs. Which Joe Shane has even admitted. He said we have so many needs, we can just take the best player available. So I think you could see them. I could see them doing a linebacker. I could see them getting the safety. I could see them, getting a wide receiver, a tight end, running back like that. They could really go in the third round.
Did you say running back?
Yeah, absolutely. I think they would do with that.
Okay, this is the second time. If the Giants take a running back in the third round, I'm bawling. I am crying.
He's going to jump off the bridge now.
Yeah, then I'm going to stick an ice pick in my eye socket if that happens. Now, unless it's Frank Walker. If it's Frank Walker, then I'm fine.
Kenny Walker.
Kenneth Walker.
Kenneth Walker. Frank Walker used to play for the Giants, by the way.
Yeah.
In fact, I think he wore 41 before DRC did. If it's the only one is Kenneth Walker would be the only one I would want. A running back, Zach, you're killing me. All right. What's your rundown? Give me like who you want. I don't know, from the top. Who's your, you're the GM, who you picking with 5?
Perfect world.
Yeah, perfect world.
Perfect world, probably a Conwu or Evan Neal, yeah.
Okay. At 7?
And then it would be if they got one of those guys, then Thibodeau or Sauce Gardner. Yeah.
Okay. And then 2? Can we go there? Can we get to at least 3?
In the second round, you're saying?
Yeah. Who do you want in the second round? I'm only going to give you the 3 because after that, it's a complete wild card.
So let's say they picked Thibodeau. I did a 7-round mock draft. I think it was last week where I had them getting that corner from Washington, Kyler Gordon, who I think is pretty good.
Yeah, he's a good player,
Okay.
Gordon. Yeah.
You can plug that guy in as a starter probably right away.
Okay. And then what are you doing in the rest of the third?
Then it comes down to what's there, but probably a tight end maybe in one of those picks, and then maybe like an interior offensive lineman with the other one.
Like a Zion or a.
He won't be there.
But yeah.
No, you think he's gone with the first pick in the third?
Zion Johnson?
Ryan Johnson? He's
He'll be good on
first
first
round
rounder. Maybe second round if he slips, but he's a first rounder.
Maybe. I don't know. I
Okay.
think a
All
first
right.
rounder.
So you're thinking the guard's going to go that early. What's
Cowboys might take him.
what's the guy from Texas A&M? Green.
He's gone too.
There's no way 2 guards are going in the second round.
They're the 2 best guards. If they're gonna go, they're gonna go in the first round. They might slip to the top of the second, right? But not to the third. Definitely
Penning,
not the third.
and
I think
Penning
a guy like
Zach mentioned
Kennard
Penning
could
about
fall to
Penning.
the second round.
Maybe. What about, and you like Penning? You brought him up a little bit. What's your thought on the Mauler?
Trevor Penning?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's interesting if they trade back in the first. I could see him as, he's an interesting guy. I don't know.
Fans will love him.
Yeah, he's a guy that fans will love. He's huge.
Until he holds the 28 times in a season. Zach, where's Linderbaum going to fall?
It seems like his stock has taken a pretty steep dive. I could see him going to the second round at this point.
So if he's there in the second round, do the Giants take him?
Boy.
That'd be an interesting one. It'd be hard to pass up a potential long-term center like that, but I don't know. That's a good question. I'd have a hard time passing him up if he's there at 30.
I am right there with you.
So if let's say Linderbaum falls, right? He's at the top of the second, but so does Nakobe Dean because they're both falling for the same reason, size.
I
They're
take
both literally
Linderbaum.
falling for size. Which one are you taking of the 2?
Which one am I? Oh man, that's a tough one.
Do you want Blake Martinez as running mate for the future, or do you want the center?
I might go. Oh man, that's
I'll tell you
another
this.
tough one.
He might be his running mate, but he's actually
Yeah, you got to realize that
Yeah,
the difference
well, running
between
mate 2
Linderbaum
replacement,
and
right?
I'd probably go Linderbaum just because I don't know. It's if you can lock down center, then you have your center, your left tackle, and your right tackle locked down for a long time.
That's pretty good. That's a nice young core.
And I think linebackers they're not easier to find, but I think Wink Martindale is good at finding linebackers. So I don't know. I'd probably go Linderbaum, but that's a hard one because I like Nakobe Dean a lot. So
Yeah.
And I like the fact that Linderbaum can compete with Feliciano. Like I like Feliciano, but I'd really like to see that having those 2 guys compete.
Well, don't forget, some of these guys are just 1-year deals. They're not, finite replacements. Feliciano's on a 1 year. Even if he balls out, who says he's coming back? He could be like, oh, there's my ticket, right? So we need long term.
All right, Zach. So what do you got? I'm gonna let you go. What do you got coming up? Like, you working on anything cool? We want to promote anything you got coming up? What's going on in your world?
I mean, mostly just writing pre-draft stuff and waiting for this James Bradbury thing to get sorted out. And
Any thoughts on that? What are
Yeah,
you what
is
are
it-
you
is
hearing?
it-
What's your
is
gut?
it
What's
like-
happening
I
here?
think Shane is just holding his ground and trying to get the best deal he possibly can, which you respect to a certain degree. But there's gonna come a point where they either have to make the trade or they're gonna have to start restructuring guys. And I know they don't want to restructure guys. So
What are you hearing? Kansas City?
it's been a lot of quiet. I mean, the latest was that the Chiefs might not really be interested because of his contract. So I think teams are kind of waiting them out and seeing if they're just going to cut him. I don't know if they want to. They might have to eventually if they because they need to sign the draft picks, and right now they don't have enough cap space for that. So I think a team that I've heard mentioned was the Texans. They'd be interesting. I think there was another team I can't remember, but I don't know. I
think the Raiders. The Raiders came up as well.
What's that?
Sorry, I think the Raiders came up as well.
Yeah, I think they've signed a couple corners. I don't know if that is gonna happen, but I mean, he knows Patrick Graham, obviously. So.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're probably thinking because Graham went out there was some talk about it, but the contract is large.
Yeah, for 1 year. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's going to be the sticking point. But all right. So you're working on some Bradbury stuff to fall. You're working on some pre-draft stuff. What happens? I did want to mention this to you. Now I'm not going to put you on the spot, Zach, but I did send you a DM on it. We are working with Leonard Marshall on the Leonard Marshall Defensive Lineman of the Year award. So we're going to be working heavily, with the stats that come out of NJ.com, of course. We're going to come up with some sponsors and 2 scholarships. So what we're looking to do is we're going to have trophies made that look like Leonard. We're going to pick 1 North Jersey lineman, 1 South Jersey lineman. And we're going to pick 2 now it could be outside linebacker, defensive tackle, defensive end. And we're going to use the stats out of NJ.com. So, and then we'll also be taking, we hope, some footage from high school coaches, not their parents, no highlight reels, but full games. So we can, hand the list over to Leonard and his board of directors to pick 2 players and give out 2 scholarships. So, when we get closer, we hope we can suck you in to, help us maybe in the process of picking these players.
Yeah. Yeah. When it gets closer, let me know. That's awesome that you guys are doing that.
Yeah. We're trying to, do something different for New Jersey. And like Leonard, of course, is pretty active, smart guy, very cerebral, still lives in New Jersey. So we're trying to do something a little bit different. So not putting you on the spot, but just kind of reminding everybody that that's coming. Guys, we're going to let Zach go because he doesn't want to hang out with us. Check him out.
I got one question before.
Yeah, go ahead. Shoot. Give him the last one. He's got to go. Give him one more.
Did you really think that Wawa pizza looked good?
I didn't think it didn't look as bad as I thought it would.
All right, that's fair. I could take that. I'll take
that. Like somebody tweeted at me like that. Like when it's late at night and you've had a few drinks, I think that would be very good.
Wait, why are you guys debating over Wawa pizza?
Because I wasn't debating it. There was so our NJ.com writer went down to Philly because they're like testing out pizza for Wawa, and so they had a video of it, and I quote tweeted that it doesn't look that bad. Because I don't know, you don't expect pizza at Wawa to look like.
All right, if you're going there, Zach, I will tell you this: they make cheeseburgers now, right?
I don't know if I'll get a cheeseburger at Wawa.
I agree with what you're saying, but so usually, so my son plays lacrosse. We're out in Conshohocken all the time, right? There's like a Super Wawa with gas station right there in Conchi, and we always go to it. And I will tell you, surprisingly, they are better than expected. The only thing that kills you is they're so salty. Like the minute you bite into it, it's like, whoa.
Yeah. I mean, I'll get hoagies there every day. I love their hoagies. So
yeah. I'm a meatball parm guy from Wawa, no doubt. But listen, thanks for hanging out with us. You always give us get a lot of time. We'll try to hit you back after the draft, talk a little bit more. If you get anything you want to promote, shout out us, let us know. And guys, you stay on because we're going to talk for another 15 minutes. And Zach, if you need anything from us, we're always here. Guys, NJ.com, check out Zach, and we will see you soon, my friend.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Take care, Zach.
Appreciate
By
it.
the way, running back 3rd round, I'm crying. All right, Zach.
Don't blame me if it happens.
No, never. Next, Zach.
All right, good.
Have a
Take
good night.
care.
All right,
let's,
guys.
Let's stay on that topic real quick. All right?
Yeah.
Running back happens in third round. What does that say for Saquon? Does that say anything for Saquon? Does that is that just writing on the wall, or is it kind of like, well, this could be the backup, but also the replacement?
Well, again, I don't know if guys like Kenneth Walker and the kid from Rutgers are going to be there, or even I don't know if I'm assuming Cook will be there from Georgia. There are some good backs there. You can look at it two ways. You can look at it, yes, this is the evidently replacement, whether Barkley's traded, or let go, right? Or you could look at it as we value Saquon. If he has a good year, he gets a new deal, he gets tagged, but we still need a change of pace back to take the pressure off a guy who's been hurt 2 years in a row. I know a back is in, yeah, no doubt. Williams too from ND, Danny, without a doubt, is an option. All I can tell you is that he's never been a 30 carry back anyway. 30 carries a game back anyway. And the other kid, Brightwell's not the answer.
He may not even make the team.
Exactly.
Yeah, because they brought on Antonio Williams, right? That might just sublet him at this point.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You're not going to carry like 6 running backs. That's not happening. So
no,
I think they only carried 4 last year, right? What did they carry last year? Like 4?
You had
Barkley,
Saquon,
Brightwell,
Booker, Brightwell, and
they had Penny.
Penny. I mean, backfield.
But they had the kid from like Australia or whatever.
Gillespie.
He plummets Garmer or something like that, but he doesn't count.
He was on the practice squad. That guy.
Yeah,
Plummer?
Sandro or something.
They were the only backs that I know were on the, in the building.
I don't think they're going to draft a running back in the third round. So
I can see one of the later rounds, like a Pierre Strong.
I see 5th round. That's what I see.
Haskins maybe.
Or Robinson. I don't know. Robinson.
Yep. They right now, when you think about what the Giants need to do, Gillespie. Thanks, Mark. When you're talking about just whether BPA or need, a tackle, a pass rusher, the corner is a definite luxury if he's there. That's an excellent move. When you get to that third round, you've got to look at guard and you got to look at linebacker. I just have a feeling, I could be wrong. I know you guys both told me I'm wrong. I got a feeling that Green could be there at the first that pick in the third round.
You think he's fallen that far?
I'd be shocked.
It's not. I don't think it's that he's fallen that far. Every year in the draft, something happens to push everything down. So
I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
And I'm going live here. If Green falls to the third round, I will buy you dinner. I will buy you dinner at what's that great steakhouse over in Brooklyn?
There's a lot of them. There's Morton's. There's
starts with a P.
Chart House. No shot, Dan says. I'm not saying it's a done deal. I'm just saying that every year something happens that just makes everything push back. They just had.
You're right.
Yeah, Chris. FYI, Chris has
Lugers.
Peter Lugers.
Peter Lugers. That's.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's because Chris pays attention. Thanks, Chris. Here's all I'm saying is this, and I'm stretching it because I didn't normally would think that Green would go in the third round. But every year something happens that throws a wrench in it. They just mocked Aiden Hutchinson at 7 today. 7.
Yeah, that's only a few spots. I think Green's going to go late first, early second, if anything. That's what I'm seeing.
I don't think anybody's drafting a guard in the first round.
Dallas,
No.
Remember, Quentin Nelson was a tackle that they made a guard. Just saying.
Right. All right, that's fair, but I still think there's going to be a guard, if not 2 guards.
A guard in the first round.
Zion Johnson, or Kenyon Green. Those are the 2.
I think they'll be the only guards going in the first round, first. Yeah. I
not
think,
early,
but who knows?
Not top 10, maybe around that 15 to 20 mark.
Craig, Zach talked about the Giants might go with best player available in round 3, and I don't think there's guards talent-wise, better than the linebackers or the tight ends. So I don't see a guard in round 3.
Lloyd, Channel, and
See, I think those guys might be gone before the 3rd.
Yeah, Lloyd's a first-round pick in my mind. I mean,
he's gone. N'Kobe Dean will be gone. Even if he falls, someone's gonna snatch him. Chanel, I don't think he makes it to the 3rd.
Dean and Lloyd.
He could make it. Maybe.
He could. Yeah.
And what about Mumba?
Yeah, those are the two Muma or whatever. Those are the two that I would love to snatch up, but they're maybe, right? They might go late second, not.
I was gonna say that Muma, what's he from Minnesota, right?
No,
Muma,
he's from Montana.
Montana.
Oh, Montana. All right, yeah, sorry.
Oh, Wyoming.
Yes. So you're right.
He played with. Didn't he play with
yes.
Coughlin? No.
No, he played with the kid Wilson, who's in Cincinnati now. That's why I know he played. Don't forget Corey Walker too. That's another good inside linebacker.
Yeah, I don't think Mark says he likes like Leo Chenal. I don't know if guys like Lloyd, Chenal, Muma. I don't know if they and Mark says and Walker. Like Corey Walker especially. Yeah, I don't think those guys make it out of the second round.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Quay Walker, and his stock is going to keep going up because he's a do-it-all. He can literally do everything. He could play inside, outside, pass rush, cover, sideline to side. His stock's going to keep going up.
Just remember, just like Craig says, a lot of guys will slide because of other positions that are stronger, like an edge and like the line.
I know, like it's really not possible. I mean, man, it would take a lot for a guy like Green to fall to 3.
What a value that would be, a 3.
Yeah, it'd be great value. I guess I probably went too far in saying that. I just think that there's going to be some guys. If you've got like Hutchinson going at 7, I know it's only 6 picks, right? But if he's at, let's say he's at 7, now you got to think about Lindenbaum going into like the second round. And then you got to talk about guys like Walker and Muma going maybe late second, early third. Like it's going to
happen.
If you're shifting 7 spots, everybody goes back 7 spots. And you're talking about all these linebackers, which is Walker, Muma, Chenal, Lloyd. Those guys, like how many linebackers can go in the early second round?
You also got the kid out of Oklahoma is a pretty good player. What's his name again? Such an
linebacker.
Yeah, inside linebacker.
Let me look it up. I'm looking it up now.
So
he's about the same size as Dean, but he's very super quick.
Did you consider Aiden Hutchinson to be the clear-cut number 1 prospect in the draft?
I don't think so.
I don't. That's what I'm just asking.
Clear. Not when you got a guy like Neal and Icky.
He's a top 3 guy. Is it fair to say he's top 3?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's fair, right?
Yeah.
So really, my shift for him is like 3 to 7, 3 to 6. It's not even really like 6 spots. It's really like 2 or 3 spots, if at all.
But you're looking at the talent that if he, let's just say he falls to 7, look at the talent that's going 1 through 6. Those are premium players. I mean, it wouldn't be.
Which guy were you talking about, Michael?
The kid from Oklahoma, the inside linebacker.
I'm looking it up now.
I think it's Omar. I should know this.
The only guy coming to mind for Oklahoma is the linebacker edge, Benito.
No, they got another kid.
Ashmo.
That's it.
Oh, yes. That's
it.
Asamoah?
It's
something like that.
Asamoah.
Sorry.
No, he's a real good. He's like the same size as Dean, but he moves. He can move.
I'm just
Nick Benito's a good player too. I mean, no one talks about him. He's a good player.
It's because you know what? Some of these guys, and we talked about, they're just smaller. They're a lot more of the tweener. You know what?
Yeah.
Jerry Reese would have a field day in this draft because he was drafting these guys like a decade ago, and it didn't work out. But now, as the games progress, maybe Jerry Reese was ahead of his time because as the games progressing, those are the guys that are now getting drafted. These smaller tweener linebackers / rushers were like a mix.
Another guy, Sam Williams, another guy in third round that could be a nice pick. The guy he had a great season all by himself at Ole Miss.
You said you were going to buy me dinner at Luger's, right? If Green slips to the third round,
right?
So Chris tells us that it's Luger's, and I was thinking like Chart House, Morton's, right? And then this is what I said, Chris is paying attention. This is his response. This will make the show. Ready? He says, because I love meat. Oh.
Do you ever see that? You ever see Luger's the commercials? It looks like Flip Flintstone meat on the plate. That's what it looks like.
Oh yeah, they don't mess around. I mean, my personal favorite is the Chart House in Weehawken.
We have one by us too.
Yeah, because it literally sits on the Hudson River, like it's on the pier, on the water. You're literally looking at Manhattan, like if you could swim across the river, it'd be right there. All right, so we do have some definite interest in linebackers, and I can't see a running back going in the third. So a couple of things. Let's talk about some housekeeping stuff, guys. We are going to bring on a new analyst, a new panelist, a new writer, maybe even two. Yeah, it's a surprise. I haven't announced it yet. One of them is in the show right now in the comments.
I see it.
Is it me? Oh, you mean?
No, you're already here, dude. You're already here.
I didn't know you meant.
Okay, so I have two gentlemen that I'm looking to bring on. They're near and dear to my heart. One guy is typing in the comments right now, and then another gentleman I'm talking to now. So we're going to expand the NY Giants Rush team. I'm working on some more interviews, of course, as always. And I did have this conversation, guys, today about interviews. Guys, if you don't know, or spread it to your friends, the Giants Guys YouTube channel has 20 plus, 30 plus interviews with media personalities and former Giants players. We need you to get on there and subscribe. We need you there because it helps us out. That algorithm helps us out when you subscribe. So if you haven't subscribed to the Giants Guys YouTube channel, please do. Would do us a big favor. We're going to bring on two new bodies. So we're going to have all new content from these guys. I got, of course, all the Coach's Corner stuff and Zane Payne. All that stuff's coming. As you heard, I'm going to do the Leonard Marshall Defense of Lineman of the Year award. That's going to be coming up. We're working with Leonard since we've gotten pretty friendly with him. We had Peppa Johnson last week. We had a little bit of hiccup with the Wi-Fi in his hotel, so it was a little rough. But let me tell you, like, what a good guy with a world of experience. 3 Super Bowl rings, coaching, 2 playing. That's what – those were linebackers, right? They were definitely linebackers. All right.
He's one of my favorites, Peppa Johnson. I liked him.
Yeah, I mean, he was a stud. He tells a story about how they literally asked him to sign a contract that paid him like a special teams player. And he was like, well, if you're going to pay me like that, then I'm only going to play special teams. I'm not going to play one down of linebacker. I mean, he was in the room with George Young and Mr. Mara and John Mara. Wilmington Mara. And he's like, this is the same contract I had last time, when I came into the league as a part-time defensive player and a special teams player. He's like, if I sign this, I'm only playing special teams. Don't ask me to play one down at defense. And Wilmington Mara walked out of the room, came back in 5 minutes later with a contract.
Smart move.
And Peppa Johnson said he fired his agent on the spot.
I would too. Too.
He said he negotiated all his contracts from that point on. So check out Pepper Johnson if you haven't. He is I think he's the new defensive coordinator for a USFL team. That season, if I'm not mistaken, starts next week.
Yeah.
So you'll be able to get some football for you nuts who need football 24/7. Please follow my guys here, Zane and Truth and Spartan Mike and John Esposito. Make sure you're following those guys.
And we got the draft show coming. Don't forget about it.
Draft show on Thursday. What position you talking about, Truth?
We're going to do a little mixed up with corners, safeties, wide receiver, running back, a little collage.
So Thursday, when you got nothing to do, you're cleaning the house, you're raking the lawn, you're doing the dishes, just chuck on Twitter, chuck on YouTube, listen to the Truth and Spartan and Zane. Are you in on that one too?
I usually jump on for interesting commentary.
Yeah. Okay. Last thing of housekeeping for all you folks out there that are new to the Giants, guys. We do a live stream like this, but during the draft. Before the draft, we will be on at 7 o'clock, and we bring it on Chris Daina. He will be hanging out with us, talking pre-draft. We'll be live through the, for the first round. So we're going to talk, pick 5, pick 7. And then we'll be back on Friday, okay, for rounds 2 and 3. And then I'm going to leave it to those guys if they want to do 4, 5, and 6 and 7. All right, I'm going to leave it to them. I'm going to give you Thursday and Friday. So definitely going to give you that, and then we'll crank out some articles on what we think of these guys. And by the way, we have still room in the draft show. So hit me up if you want to be in the draft show. I've already told most of you guys. Some of you guys couldn't do it. You're going to Giant Stadium for the draft show, guys. Giants do a draft show from the stadium. If you didn't know, I am not going. So I've got some room in the draft show. So if you want to be in the draft show, let us know. And last but not least, take this podcast, favorite, like it, forward it, share it, so other Giant fans can see it. Post it on BBI, post it all around the place, and give us some idea what kind of content you want us to cover. Appreciate you guys hanging in. You guys got Zane. Before we go, what's your parting words of wisdom?
Our parting words of wisdom are, ladies and gentlemen, be patient. Simply be patient. It's been years of patience. Just keep going. We ain't got nothing else. We're fans. We're going to stick regardless.
We got the Rangers.
Be patient.
Yeah, Rangers look good.
I'm not a Rangers guy. I'm from Jersey, right? I'm a Devils guy. They suck, but I'm from Jersey, all right? I represent Jersey first. No, you're not. You're a Rangers fan. You can't be.
No, wait. Okay, wait. Just let me give you a quick snap of reality, my friend. When I was a kid, the Devils were the Colorado Rockies. There wasn't any Devils, okay?
That's right.
So when you lived in New Jersey, you were a Ranger fan. Yeah. And then, of course, I got no beef with the Devils. I know they're in the same division, but I got no beef with the Devils and Kirk Muller back in their red and green days.
They're just bad. That's all.
And I'm the opposite of Craig. There was no Islanders when I was a kid, so I was a Ranger fan from Long Island. Same thing.
There you go. Fair enough.
There you go. All right, so we got the Rangers. Listen, and there's nothing wrong with with buying into a hockey team there, Zane. Like, just adopt the Rangers.
I can't. You know what that is? That goes against, like sports religion, if you will, right? So I grew up a New Jersey Nets fan. I know they weren't around for you guys. They were the New York Nets. I don't know. But I grew up with the New Jersey Nets, right? So the moment they went to Brooklyn, my fandom ended. That was it. But guess what?
Across the river and you let them go?
Am I from Brooklyn? Last time I checked, I was from Jersey City. I'm not from Brooklyn. All right? No, that's the truth. And guess what? Will I ever be a Knicks fan? No, because I grew up hating them. I can't just now transfer over to these other divisional teams. You don't
have a basketball team either?
I don't. It's very sad. I miss having a basketball team.
All right, so I will say I don't really have a basketball team, and then living down here by Philly, like I root for some Sixers. I don't know. But if I had to, I go Knicks.
Like, nah, can't do. You know why I can't do it? Because I grew up not rooting for them. They were in my division, right? Same as the other teams in your division. You don't root for them. If the Giants got up and leave one day and went to wherever, would you be rooting for the Eagles because they're close by? Like, no, you grew up hating them. They're a division rival forever.
All right, fine. Then you
have a good point there.
Thank you, Truth. He gets it.
He doesn't get it. He's humoring you.
No, he gets
All right, Truth. Who do you want in the first round, real quick?
Well, I've always said I want a tackle in the 5, either Evans or Iquanu, or I want Johnson. I love that guy at 7. I'm not going to change.
You're going to go Johnson at 7?
I'm not going to change. I like it. Don't sleep on Jermaine Johnson. He is the most complete day one ready.
And someone talked about he's a little older. I don't care. That guy can play.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what the difference between 23 and 21 is.
The second
that guy can play.
The second contract's the difference.
Downs.
Yeah.
But even then, you're still in your prime through your first 2 contracts no matter what. So, whatever. On that, but Jermaine Johnson, great target. Don't sleep on him. He's going to go a lot quicker than people think.
All right, Zane. Last thing. Who do you want? You got to. I mean, I know you.
Do I have to pick players or scenarios?
No, just a player.
Don't put me in a box, Craig. Um, let's see. At 5, as much as we say BPA, our BPAs and our needs are literally the same, just because we have holes all over the place. So at 5, I would prefer a tackle, Neil or Icky, and I'm fine with Cross too. That would at 5, that would be that. At 7, it's a debate between pass rush and corner, man. If Sauce is there, it's really hard. And we talked about this way back when Craig was killing me for wanting a corner because God forbid you want a corner. But based on the fact that Bradbury should most likely be gone, and you have nothing behind Adoree Jackson. You need corners in a passing league. Wink Martindale prioritizes it. All that fits too neatly to not go corner. Even though, I might say I want Johnson. If they go corner, I'm just as happy because Gardner is really good. He actually is really good. He's not overratedly good.
No, he won me over, Zane. He won me over. I watched the interview this weekend. So I'm going, I want Neil.
Oh, so hold on. So when I said he was a guy, no. But his interview, okay, now he's great. He won me over. Okay,
that's my show. I'm allowed to do that.
That's fair. That's fair.
You know what I mean? So I have, these are my short list. I want Neil. I want Icky, of course. Okay. And if neither one of those are obtainable, of course, I want Hutch or Tibbs. If neither one of those are obtainable, I go Sauce, and against my better judgment, I go Walker. And only because I know he's got to be this good if everybody's going.
He won't be there at 7. I don't think he will be at 7.
I know. I'm just giving you, like, in my scenario, I'm not going 5 or 7. I'm doing them in pairs. I want Neil or Icky if they're there. I want Hutch or Tibbs if they're there.
I gotcha.
I want Sauce or Walker if he's there. Those 6 players I just named need to come out of 5 and 7 for the Giants.
I think in about 2, maybe 2.5 seasons, you might look back and say Walker was probably the best edge. Not day 1, but in 2 years, I think he might get there.
He might get higher ceiling.
You might go back and say, but day 1, because I assume Tibbs is going to be gone. I'm with Truth. We've been saying Johnson since day 1.
I really think that Shane's going to go. Who Shane said? I think he's going to go tackle and Sauce at 7.
And I don't even think Sauce gets to 7.
Yeah, he might not. I think the Jets could pick him up. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, again,
or the Texans, they need corners too. I mean, there's teams that need everything.
Remember, and let's.
What about Stingley? He might be there then.
Don't.
He had a good pro day.
Great pro day. Solid measurables. Incredible 2019.
He could be there at 7.
2019. Did you just say 2019?
Did you hear the rest of what I said?
It didn't matter because 2019.
It did. Because after that, I said drop off injury. Right. 3 years, I said drop off injury. I'm out on him because of medicals and production.
That right there is a smart man. I don't want to hear anything about 2019. But qualifying with the injury.
2019. I'm using it against him that he's been going downhill since then.
That's why you're a smart man. All right. That's why he's a smart man. Those are the guys. You need to Neil, Icky, Hutch, Tibbs, Sauce, Walker. You come out with 2 of those.
Just go to our website. I got all the box there. You can check them out.
I want no projects. I want no development. I want starters and day 1 rotational. I don't want Ojabo because he's hurt. I'm sure he's going to be good.
Dude,
Can't play. Can't play.
Lose
right?
it.
Can't
I'm going to lose it. There's
Can't
2.
play.
Why would I draft?
I don't want Ojabo when he wasn't hurt.
Thank you, Truth. We were talking about this too. Don't want him regardless. And no knock on him. I'm rooting for him. This is not personal.
I just think he's a limited specialist right now. I don't see a 3-down player. I don't right now.
You know who he kind of reminds you of? Like who was the last team to do this? Was the Seahawks when they took Bruce Irvin, right? Nobody saw it coming. Nobody saw it coming. He was like 15, and he was nothing more than a first-round, third-round specialist. He didn't develop more until like 4 or 5 seasons later.
Here's the thing about Ojabo, and everyone keeps telling me I'm crazy, but I can give you a long list of guys that falls into this bucket. Is he has one 1 year and 6 games worth of college experience. In the 6 games of 2020, you ready? He had 1 tackle. Exactly,
Yeah.
Michael Stewart. Exactly. See, Michael Stewart knows me. He reads it. He knows me. That guy right there knows me well. Okay, so now you have to scrap 6 games with no production. And then he had a nice year with Aiden Hutchinson getting double teamed on the other side. Now he's got an Achilles. So, like, if everything goes perfect, he doesn't come back to Halloween or Thanksgiving, and he still has limited snaps. The guy hasn't played enough. So what do you do when you got limited snaps? You're a package guy, like to Zane's point. You're a package guy. You're a specialist, and you don't know how he's going to rebound. Just take Johnson then if you're looking at Chabo.
Or Walker. I would take anyone because he's hurt. At that point, I'm taking whoever. Like, he's hurt at that point.
The Giants have too many holes to fill to take hurt players.
True.
Absolutely.
There's one tackle that people are talking about as a potential first rounder. We haven't talked about him yet.
Raymond?
Yep, the converted tight end. What's your take on this guy?
He's a great athlete. I mean, you're right. He was a tight end, very, very athletic. And I think I talked to Entertainer today on Twitter. Mm-hmm. He's overlooked because of the other top offense tackles, but he's a player.
He's got first round conversation around him.
I think he might go first round, first, early second. Sure.
I got to throw this up here because I want to address this. Mark, you've got 2 points. One of them I agree with. One of them I don't. Hutch is all he's it. I mean, I know you're saying he doesn't have good bend. You don't come up with 17 sacks if you don't have bend. He's got a great motor.
Motor.
Yeah, kid's got a great motor at 268 pounds. The dude's a beast. Even Daniel Jeremiah compared him to Jared Allen today. I mean, Jared Allen was
that's a compliment.
Jared Allen was a sick baller.
Hall of Famer, Jared
now,
Allen.
I don't see that. I see a little bit of Jason Taylor in him. You know what I mean? Like,
there's nothing wrong with that.
No, exactly. I see a little bit of Jason Taylor in him, but like, I'm not poo-pooing what you say, Mark. I'm just saying, like, Hutch gets double teamed. He's got to be able to bend to pull 17 sacks down. You know what I mean? When you're getting double teamed, his motor is unbelievable. They're going to develop him. I think he's going to be a really nice player. He's got, and I don't want to use the whole. There was this big thing on Twitter today about comparing white players to white players and white players and black players to black players. You know what I mean? And it gets all like stupid and crazy. But he does have a little JJ Watt in him. He doesn't have Bosa in him. Okay, because Bosa's more compact, right?
Smaller, quicker.
His numbers were equivalent to Bosa.
Agreed. I don't think he plays that game though. You know what I mean? Like Bosa plays I'm talking about Nick Bosa now. Nick Bosa plays a power game and he's compact, right? Where Hutch is a lot longer, plays more like a Von Miller or plays
he's wider too. He's wider, he's bigger. He's not built the same way, so he plays a different game.
Yeah. So that one. But now this point that he brings up, I do like that. I think that Walker might be a little bit of a project because he doesn't have, he's not a finisher. You're going to draft him to be a finisher, and he's never done it.
He needs a good year under his belt. That's fine.
Yeah, I think the future is bright for him, and we're all going to sit back and say, but we're just not in that position. That's the thing. Like, a lot of people will say, well, guess what? You know what? The Giants aren't winning. They're in the perfect place to be a position. No, we're really, really not, because this window of 3 to 4 years is going to be scrutinized like crazy if you don't.
Absolutely. And even if we did want him, we're not going to get him. He's going to go before 5.
You know what? J Bones is in the room. I can't even pronounce that guy's name to even tell you.
That's the kid out of Penn State, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
He'll be there. He should be there.
He's a day 2. He's an early day 2
right at the top of the second round.
You think he's a round 2 guy? Yeah. Okay.
Right at the top of the second. He'll go between that 35.
He may not be there at 36 for the Giants.
He might not be there.
Well, I'm trying to see what else in here. So I got J Bones is in here, Mark's in here, Chris is in here. We had Piz in here, which is funny because he never usually joins. He's always yelling at me.
Let me ask you both this. All right.
Yeah.
Let's say the Saints want to go QB, hypothetical. They come up to 5. All right.
Wait, we're going back to
We're going
16?
back-
16 and 19. And 19.
They're going to give us both those picks.
Yeah, because that's the
Okay.
value chart. That's literally the value chart is both of them.
Okay.
So both of those, and maybe throw in a swap of a 4th and a 5th to sweeten the pot, something like that, right? But I'm going to concentrate on the 16 and 19. What do you do at 7? What do you do at 16 and 19? We've seen enough mock drafts, enough players to say who's going to be around in those areas.
The only reason that's hard is you got to give me who's there though, because if I'm like what's there at 7, I can choose if you tell me what's there.
Oh,
Your top 5 or 6 that we've already named are gone, right? You assume certain people already gone, like Sauce is gone.
I think a tackle will be there.
Sorry, Tibbs is gone. Neal is gone. So you remove those obvious ones that we already are kind of assuming are not going to be there. Something realistic, like potentially a Cross could be there, a Johnson could be there.
I don't
maybe you want to go wide receiver. There's people who are very high on
Johnson would be
London.
top 10. London.
Johnson would be 16.
You're crazy. Not happening. I don't think he gets there. That's why.
I'll buy you a Wendy's special if he's there at 16.
No, again. Oh no! Wait! How did we go from Luger's to Wendy's?
Well, you're going. I'm going to go to a
you're-
few spots then after a couple of rounds.
I think you're missing the biggest part of what you're saying, though, Zane, is when they move up the entire board. Like Johnson was, he's a let's say he's an 8 to 12 guy, right? When they move up, everything is going to change. If they move up to 5, the whole board changes.
Only by one singular player. It doesn't change
No.
for 90 unless it causes a domino, right? But I'm not assuming a domino.
Always
I'm not
does.
assuming- It does, but I'm just not assuming it because then we get into too many details of could be.
Well, let's see. Wait, 16 and 19, Zane?
Yeah, 7, 16, and 19.
So you're looking at Penny could be there,
No,
right?
no way. Not taking him at 7.
No. I'm talking about
He's
16 and 19.
Oh, I'm trying to get through 7.
Yeah.
Oh. I
7's
know,
got
I'll
to
take
be.
it.
Why don't you take? You know what, Craig? Take Walker, right? You said potentially that's who you would.
I would
take.
take.
At 7?
I'd take. Thinking about the scenario, I would take Tibbs or Walker at 7.
Okay, so you've addressed edge now. What are you doing at 16 and 19?
I'm hoping, like I said, I'm hoping that Johnson's there. If he's not, then I might be looking at.
Are you doubling up on edge?
Got a nice corner there. Could be at 16. Kid from Washington.
Are you doubling up at edge?
No.
Because 7, you said you would take Walker or Tibbs. So
Or
if you're taking Johnson, yeah, but you're doubling up then.
No. Oh, because I was thinking of it in reverse.
Okay.
Like I was going 16 to 7. Going 7, 7. Tibbs or
Walker.
or Walker at 7, leaving me a potential to take Zion at 16. But again, it's tough for me to take a guard in the first round. I might look at Linderbaum there.
Do you pick up a stud linebacker?
Because I
Lloyd could be there.
too. I might go
Lloyd could be
Linderbaum.
there.
I might
Okay,
go Linderbaum.
Okay. And what do you do with 19?
Then if that was the case, then I would 100% go Zion.
Okay.
Zion.
So what's the difference?
I've got 3
what's
first-round picks, but it's not going to
But
happen.
what's the difference between 16 and 19 between Zion and Linderbaum? What's the difference? Why would you not do it at 16 but you do it at 19? That's not much of a difference.
Because I don't know if Zion will start day 1, and I know Linderbaum will.
No, but you're still taking him at 19. You're assuming him to still start day 1, 2 picks later.
I just didn't think he would last. Linderbaum
Okay.
at 16 is like everyone's blowing smoke that he's not going to be there.
I'll tell you, man, there's some talented defensive players could be in those areas that you're talking, 16 and 19.
I think it'd be hard to pass up like a Devin Lloyd just sitting right there.
He could be there at 16. Yeah.
He could be there at 19. But here's the thing: what's
Yeah,
the
I
drop
guess.
off? What's the drop off between Lloyd, Muma, Chanel, and Walker? Are the
Some are more complete, right? Chanel would be more of an inside 2 down. I don't want him in space that much. I want him to be like downhill.
Yep.
Muma is more complete, but then you bring in the whole competition thing, right? It's like the Willis conversation. Yeah, he did well against his competition. How's the translation going to be? With Lloyd and
but if
Dean,
you're
those are the
taking-
only two guys you're like, well, no, there's really no question here. And Dean's
I mean-
falling simply because of size.
If you'll take Willis in the top 10, then you can take Muma at 19.
Oh, I wouldn't take Muma at 19.
No. Devin
No.
Lloyd, yes.
Devin Lloyd, look at his numbers, insane. He had 22 tackles for losses, just 22. He's way ahead of everybody in that department.
Would you entertain a corner? Like Khair
Trent-
Elam?
Who?
Khair Elam?
Yeah, he's good. The kid from Washington's pretty good too. Trent McDuff. Is that his name? McDuff?
Yeah, McDuffie or McDuffie.
Yeah. He's pretty good player too.
But I think McDuffie just becomes another Aaron Robinson. Right? I still just becomes another nickel. I don't think he's going to play outside.
Okay. All right, you see him more as a nickel. All right.
Yeah, I think so because he's small. He's on the small. He's like 170, right? He's small.
Who's the first wide receiver off the board?
I think London is.
Yeah, London or Pickens. Or
I don't think Pickens
now,
will.
right?
I think
Sorry,
I think the kid from Ohio State would be
Olav.
Olav, yeah.
Yeah, Olav would have been a first rounder last year if he declared. He thought about it. They had him mocked as a first rounder. He would have gotten drafted where we took Tony. He would have got picked up right around
That's
that
true.
area.
That's
Does
about right.
Stingley make it to 16?
Does who?
Stingley?
Boy,
Who's gonna take him is the question. I think.
why wouldn't
he
Minnesota
might.
take him? They can use secondary help.
It's all going to depend
At
on
12.
his medicals. If his medicals are good, yeah, he's completely worth a first round pick. A team will take him.
Because
It's his
Hamilton will go top 10, top 12.
I think so. Yep.
Houston's going to take him.
Zach had the best point. You just Sauce has to go before Hamilton.
Houston, I think, has 2 top 10 picks now, right? Because they traded, so they have 2 top 10 picks, or is it top 11? What is it?
Houston?
Yeah, they got 3.
I think
and
they
9?
have 2 picks. They have one early and one late, don't they?
They have like 3 and 9. No, I think they have they said not 9.
No, not
it's
9 Seattle. Is
Yeah.
it 9 Seattle?
What else did Houston end up with?
So Jay Bone says, read somewhere that number 5 would be the same cap hit as 16 and 19. I don't.
Isn't that what Zane just said? It's about the same.
Yeah, when
Value
you move
chart?
down. Yeah, that's why.
Yeah.
The cap hit for 5 is about a little over $6 million, right?
Yeah, 6 and change.
Hill, yeah. I think Hills could go late 1 or Klein, and one of them's going to go second round. No, they'll be gone before 3rd round.
Yeah, I was just say, yeah, Hill. I don't know a lot about Kine, but Hill's never
Klein's
going to be
good.
there. Hill's never
They'll
going
be
to be
gone
there.
before round 3.
Yeah, I mean Hill could be gone.
Houston's got 13 now, so they have 3 and 13.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Because they traded with Cleveland, right? That was the Deshaun Watson deal, so they got that.
13's a nice spot for Devin Lloyd.
13's a good spot for Cleveland. Who would take Hamilton? What is Washington going to do? They're another wild card. I don't know what
They're
Washington's
11,
gonna do.
right?
Yeah, I don't know what they're going to do.
They're not going to take a quarterback.
And they have an unbelievable front 4, so they're not gonna go edge.
They can use secondary. They need secondary help,
Could Stingley go there if he passes all the
possibly.
medical? Or, hey, they can use another wide receiver too, you know. Could take London.
Yeah, they need.
This bad secondary. They lost Collins. They're probably better off that Collins is there.
Hey, Collins is a good guy. I would take him on the 1 year. Collins is a good guy. He thrived for us.
He's a linebacker now.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's Jabril Peppers like 5.0. He's what you want Jabril Peppers to be.
Yeah, but again, like we're not going to run a box safety with Wink's defense, so I don't really think it fits. You know what I mean?
Well, no, he wouldn't just be a box safety. He becomes your money backer almost because he can do it. He can carry tight ends.
But you're not going to need in that defense. You're not going to need it. I just don't see Collins fitting in that scheme.
I do. But I mean, it's not happening either way. But I see that. I see his skill set.
Well, all right, guys, we're gonna wrap it up. We're rambling now, having some fun. One, we'd like to send our condolences to the Haskins family. Tragedy,
Absolutely.
tragedy on a whole nother level. Sad for the NFL. Sad for the Haskins family. Just Pittsburgh, Washington. Like, just you never want to see anything like that happen to anybody.
And very
just-
unnecessary commentary from certain people. Gil Brandt, you're one of them. I know you'll never hear anything I have to say. I'm a
Yep.
nobody to you, but words can't express how much I despise you as
I
a human
didn't.
being.
I didn't see it, so I don't know what.
Yeah,
he said.
it's just so ignorant and just not necessary, because what the kid does on the field, like he's a human being, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
and he's a young guy who's got a family, and he's a good guy from what everyone tells me. I've never met the gentleman, but just you never want to see anybody.
Yeah, let's have class as human beings first and foremost to everybody, myself included. Let's have empathy. Let's have compassion. Let's be humans.
Yeah.
It's okay.
That's the
Yeah.
thing. The world has lost empathy without a doubt. So anyway, we want to just, for what it's worth, to the NFL family and the Haskins family, just say, hey guys, prayers up to you and your family. Also, we lost a former Giant this week too to cancer.
I saw that.
I didn't, it just seems like, and then today Gilbert Godfrey, like it just seems like a lot of the good ones are passing away this week. So anyway, just want to acknowledge it because it's worth it because they were all good humans. And thanks for watching and tune in to the Giants guys, YouTube, Twitter, subscribe, favorite, pass it, share it.
Catch us next week. We'll have Mike Tenure from Football Outsiders bring us a lot of objectivity about the New York Giants.
Just so you folks know, I am going to the Bahamas and I am leaving these knuckleheads in charge. So
it's gonna be fun.
So, oh yeah, it's gonna be like Animal House. All right, guys, we're out.
See ya.